Apamada's programs and facilities are supported through your generosity. Your support really does make a huge difference. You'll find a link for contributions on the website at apamada.org/contribute. Thank you so much.
Okay. So Becky is going to take us on a little journey of her practice and her singing practice and how it all fits together. So Becky, take it away.
Sure, I have one. Yeah, well, my friends, I'm really glad that you're here, and I'm really glad for the opportunity to share a little bit more about my journey with all of this, as well as to have the experience to do it together in that way. You know, this some of that. So most of you know that I've had cancer. I've been living with cancer for at least 12 years now, since I became aware of it. And I met Apamada when I was still living in Texas. And at a certain point in my health, it was clear I needed to return to a country that has whatever they call it. Oh, if my words are going to play hide and seek with me tonight, it's a good thing you're all my friends. Anyway, we have
Socialized medicine?
Universal medicine, healthcare, and so yeah. So I've been with Apamada I was first introduced while I was living in Texas. Darcy invited me to come to Inquiry, and I was there just 3 or 4 times and stuff. But yeah, so what happened for me was that in 2021, toward the end of 2021, my cancer started metastasizing quite rapidly. It's the cancer is at the root of my tongue, and it was metastasizing in such a way that I started having trouble, keeping my throat open. And so what happened was for me was that one night I was just having so much tension and pressure and so on that I could barely stand it. And I went into the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Are you ready, Rosemary? Not quite yet. I looked in the mirror and I just did this whole thing where I just went, and I recognized that that was Kali. And I was really, really aware of that, as that it was just a deep thing that happened in me. Now, Kali is a Hindu goddess that stands for time, change, creation, power, destruction, and death. It's a very ancient, she's a very ancient goddess, and has been through many different, is in different sects with different things. I had mostly only heard it in relationship to death, but when I sort of looked into it a bit, the tantric sects know her as Mother of the Universe, Divine Mother, bestower of liberation. The early things had to do with to destroy evil, to defend the innocents. And she's often also shown with 5 arms on each side. And so that's sort of a bit like the, oh, now I can't say it either. That's terrible. This isn't supposed to happen. Anyway, you can take the picture down now. I just wanted to share that, like, what happened for me then was that I felt the resonance of the sound I had made deep in me, not just in the throat area at all. It was deep in me. And I started realizing that I needed to engage with intentional sound. And so I sort of, asked people around about singing stuff in relationship to this, and I sort of found out, well, Apamata doesn't do songs, so I'm going, okay. But I guess it was early on in 2022 that a couple of songs that we have as chants came through me, as the tune of it was just there. I mean, I say it's there, it was there, and I felt it as I sort of went, yes, this is right, or this is not quite right, or something. I could feel it in me. So, like I would just like to ask you to just make a little sound, and then a deeper one and a deeper one, So just to put your hand up across this part of your body and just make a sound like ah, 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 ah. So however deep you can go. I'm a tenor, so you'll have to just put up with that. You start where you start and get to where you get. But could you feel it? Could you feel it? Not only you can feel the resonance in your hand as well, but could you sense where the sound was going in your body? Did it change while you were doing that? So just beginning to get aware of that, because we're going to do some singing soon, and I think it's useful to just be aware of that. So resonance is part of what is healing about that in a deep way. And resonance is part of what we can experience when we sing together or chant together. And that's one of the things that you don't get to do fully on Zoom, but like I won't be hearing you, for instance, but you'll be hearing me, and you'll be feeling that everybody else is singing too. So we're going to do some singing tonight. One of the songs that we're going to be singing is one that both the words and the tune came through me. And I say came through me because I didn't write them. they just happened in me. So, and that hasn't ever happened for me. I'm not a singer. I have a sister who's a singer. I'm not a singer in the way that our society talks about it. I always have enjoyed singing, but it was sort of, around the campfire or, things like that. And so it surprised me to find that it was in me in that way. What I found as I started singing these songs was that the part of our brain that holds the tune is somewhere different than where the words are held. And so as I found myself singing them and making them in me fully, then I also then had experiences like I'd be walking down the hall and all of a sudden I'd start hearing inside, like, just in my brain, I'd start hearing the tune. And so the tune was of this one that first happened for me was the four practice principles. And what happened then was the tune was there, and I then became aware that my mind was off on some other thing, And so it, like, somehow the tune came and said, now it's time for me. And so I was able to sing it and recognize that, yes, I was caught in a self-centered dream. So those kinds of things have happened to me quite a bit as I've used them. And it's one of the reasons I want to share it with you is because because with my practice with it, it has been an additional aspect of embodying what it is we intend to be doing. So anyway, this wasn't all as profound as I meant for it to be, by the way, but what is, so I want to invite you to say a couple of phrases about your relationship with singing, because singing, like art and dance, are things that have been put aside as people who are more, like we're self-judgment about ourselves, and sometimes other people reinforce that, but it's something that has not been often just made it so that it's a wonderful thing we're glad to do. So I just wanted to hear a little bit about each of your experience and remind you that tonight that's not a point, because I already told you we're on Zoom, nobody's going to hear you anyway. So let's just start somewhere. Suzanne.
Thanks, Becky. I've been singing since I was very young and sang in church choirs and school plays and community choruses and that sort of thing, and loved singing large in like 50 or 60 other people, that kind of experience. I haven't been able to do a lot of it since I have an autoimmune condition that leaves my mouth very dry, and it gave me a very, very raspy kind of throat. But I used to sing high soprano a long time ago, so I still love to sing. So thanks for the opportunity to sing without being heard.
And Serenity.
I haven't done much singing where other people can hear me ever since I was invited to not be in the chorus in high school. For not being able to carry a tune, even if it came with a handle on it. But I think part of it was I was not a very high-pitched singer. And so the singing nuns who were leading the chorus had very, very high-pitched little voices. And I don't know, just never worked out, so I don't sing where other people can hear me.
Emily.
So, yeah, I have some early memories of singing, and at what point, well, one of my first is at 5 years old, running around the tree in our front yard singing, "Ain't nothing but a hound dog crying all the time." And I thought that must have been sung to me by my mother. Anyway, and then middle school, I remember it must have been in music class, but we were kind of told what voice we had, and I had soprano, and it was okay. And then at some point, I took on a lot of shame about my singing voice. And in fact, actually, a specific incident stands out. And so I've been hesitant to sing since then. Anyway, thank you.
Kim,
So around fourth grade, I think, everyone had to do a solo, and she said everyone has to do a solo except for Kim, because I was such a bad singer. And so my singing, oh, and then I think one of the problems I've had with Judy is there's so much singing. So anyway, I'm glad we don't do singing. But so it you know, it took me a little willpower to come here. I think I've sung best when I'm drunk, which hasn't been for a long time, and also when I'm in the car alone sometimes. But it has to be a longer distance than my home to Apamata, so I haven't had that much opportunity. So anyway, I think I've enjoyed it when no one was listening.
and Jeanette,
I've had tremendous opportunity um, to study. Um, I've sung madrigals and choir and musical theater, but when I got to college, I was able to study South Indian classical Carnatic vocals, which are ancient. And I studied from a master singer from India whose family had its own tradition that only this family sang that way. And there were many different kinds of songs, and some of them told stories, and some of them were rhythms, but they all went together with a dance, where the dancer was also, while dancing, telling the story with her mudras. And also, my best friend was Pete Seeger's niece, so she taught me guitar, and all of my friends were music majors, so we just spent all of our time playing and singing together. So singing for me is joy, and intoning for me is home. But as Emily spoke, well, first I was thinking, but I have these friends who are singers here, and when we get together, we sing. But I've become like, I don't know what to expect from my voice anymore, so I no longer feel confident. But also because I joined a Bulgarian, Ukrainian, Estonian women singing group a few years ago. And I just am crazy about that music. But the leader kept singling me out as being a problem vocally. And at one point she said, well, everybody knows your voice is a problem. And I mean, it just took such a toll on me. And I stuck with it for far longer than I should have. Finally left, and I haven't done any real singing since then. So I do think that really, like, I called my old singing teacher in Austin and was like, I'm in a panic. I was like, my voice is gone, it's ruined. I don't know what happened to it, and he's like, it's okay. But I haven't quite recovered from that.
thank you. And Lynn,
Well, I'm a folkie all the way back from my first $14 Sears and Roebuck guitar that I bought, and taught myself how to play and sing folk music. I think it's been very healing over the years to be able just to pick up the guitar and strum it, and I love harmony. I love blending of voices. Serenity was talking about the high-pitched nuns. I love harmony from my mother was an alto, I'm an alto, and we'd be at mass and just belting out that alto. only two people in the whole church doing it, but it was great. And then in later years, I've been involved with this idea of song circles singing, which are very simple verses that you can, very simple songs that you can. I taught a group of women last summer in Michigan, in the woods, a Becky Kane song. They all had their little recorders out, so it's being sung now all over. The Breathe song, and that's just the healing nature of that kind of music is just amazing.
And Lisa Judge.
Yeah, I just don't really have any history with music, and I actually wanted to come tonight, and I thought, well, I'll come until they start singing, and then I'll just kind of slip away. So
It's fine. We're not going to hear you, but you will feel you.
okay,
Good
thank
job. Yeah. And Lisa Kuntz.
Well, this is an interesting one for me. My family is not very musical. I don't play any musical instrument, although, I wish I did. I've always loved folk music and ballads. I mean, that's something, I might sing along with, but honestly, I can't carry a tune. I mean, I can't, sing a song through. So maybe if somebody taught me, I could. I don't know. I will say, I've had some really powerful experiences with chanting and vibrational energy. A couple of times, I was with somebody who did sound healing with a didgeridoo. And when I've done the kind of chanting you're talking about, that's, where my whole body resonates. And especially, when I'm with others, it's like that is very, very calming to me. So I've really craved to have that experience sometimes. It's kind of slipped out of my mind, for the last few years. But yeah, if I could, if only there was somebody down the street who had chanting circles, I would be there. I would like that.
Thank you. Gabriella.
Yeah, so what a question. I just was born singing, I think. And just the I would sing for hours since I was like little and young. And then when I look back, like the toughest family times, I would lock myself in my room and sing for hours. So it's just like, wow, just so grateful to music and to singing. It's such a, so deeply grateful to have that in my life. And it's like magic. Yeah, music and singing is just like, it's always, for me, it's been like magic, and I sing all the time. So when I'm really sad, I don't sing, but when I start singing, it's like, okay, I'm like connected again. But I sing in the shower, and sometimes I forget that the neighbors can hear me, but I sing everywhere. Yeah, thank you, Becky.
And Jace.
Oh, my sound on there?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my parents were Southern Baptist, and I was in the choir and middle school and high school, and also in the choir and high school to avoid being in PE. So I sang a lot, as a kid, and then I think in my early 20s, I was an alcoholic, and as Kim said, there was something about like being like drinking and just like being this unself-conscious, like being able to like belt out and sing and it feel really good. And then I quit drinking some like 16 years ago, and there was this kind of decade of really no singing. And then about 3 years ago, I had started kayaking and camping more, and just had this like really deep desire to be able to be around people and to make music and sing, and like and to kind of return to an unself-conscious, like let's just make music and not be concerned about how good it is or anything. So I taught myself to play the ukulele because it was something small that I could take on camping with me, and started singing again. And it planted the seed for a number of changes in my life. I was formerly a reference librarian at the Central Library in Austin, and I was in this process of like learning the ukulele and singing. I ended up pivoting to work with children and became a youth librarian in South Austin. And so now I do story times 3 times a week, and we'll have like a room of 40 to 80 toddlers and their parents all singing together, children's songs and moving around and dancing. And it's one of those things like, it doesn't matter how sad I am. Once I like am singing with a room full of children, it's like, it's pretty powerful. And as Gabriella said, I think there are times in my life when I'm not singing. I think there's kind of like, it's kind of a barometer of my joy. Like I can tell if I'm not singing frequently, I'm probably not, like something's off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Rosemary.
Thank you. These are incredible stories. And I'm just imagining being a toddler in your little class, Jace. That sounds so phenomenal. So as a child, I like Gabriella, and many of you, I loved singing. I was at a transistor radio, for those of you old enough to remember what those were. I really loved, it was attached to my ear and was always singing, but I was very, very, very shy. And at church, you had to audition to be even in grammar school, to be in the choir, so I didn't. But I kept singing, to the radio and all of that. And when the Three Tenors concert came about in the 80s, I think it was, I had a cassette tape to that show. And I had a job where I had to drive all the time. And I just had that whole thing memorized. And okay, it was tenors, but I could kind of do somewhat of what they could do. I mean, like, to me, I just didn't know. Anyway, eventually I just took some lessons, and yeah, so then my first teacher said, well, I'm doing an opera in a few months. Do you want to be part of this? So anyway, it kind of went like that, and I just kept, as a hobby, auditioning. And yeah, so and then I got into folk music and did some open mics and stuff like that, which I really absolutely adore as well. And now I'm kind of on a little hiatus, but I, like you, Suzanne, I love having the people around me and hearing those voices. It's just like, it's wonderful. And so I would just imagine tonight that I can hear you all together with my voice. So, and thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. I think it's something that we need to be aware of in ourselves is what if there are other voices that come for you, like that come up for you, to be aware of them and not let them be in the way. So I'm gonna teach you in the oral tradition, which is the way that I learned when I started going to a Kingston, Ontario songs of practice a couple of years ago. I started going there and once a week singing with their little sangha. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's a way that is ancient in so many different places, is to have someone sing it to you and then go through the lines with me singing it first and then you singing it. I'll sing too, because on Zoom you can't just say, okay, now you sing it. You know, and then we all sing it together. So the song that Lynn was talking about is Simply Breathe, and some of you will have heard it, that I sing sometimes. So I'm going to sing it for you, and then we'll sing it through. And there are some different changes in it, and I'll just say them as we get to it. So like there's I, and then there's you, and then there's us. Right. So I'll just let you know where we are. So I'm going to sing now. How simple can I make this? How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so how simple can I make this? How simple can I make this? How simple let it be. How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Now we'll sing it together. How simple can I make this? How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. How simple can I make this? How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe, breathe out. How simple can I make this? How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. You, how simple can you make this? How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. How simple can you make this? How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. How simple can we make this? How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. How simple can we make this? How simple let it be. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe Okay, well, we're running a little bit behind in time, but it's been so wonderful to hear your take on things in your past. And I don't know, where do we go from here now, time-wise, Rosemary?
So I think we might want to just ask what people's experiences were of the singing with
Of the singing of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just real briefly, everybody. Let's start. Let's see. I'll just go the same order I did. Suzanne.
Okay, that was wonderful. I was singing soprano to your alto because I couldn't go down that low. And actually, that's the song that you gave me when I brought Trina home, and I sang it on the way home to her when I brought her home. So, so she's laying here next to me. So we listened to it together. So thank you, lovely.
And Serenity.
Well, I may not have a human audience, but I certainly have two dogs that are sitting there with their heads like this going, what are you doing?
How did it feel in you singing?
You know, I remember that I used to like to, we always sang camp songs all summer long and enjoyed all of that sort of thing. So I guess I'm just sort of out of practice, and I'm looking forward to getting back in practice, and someday my hurdy-gurdy may be here, so I'm going to learn to play that if it ever arrives.
Emily, how did that feel in you?
That was quite joyful. And I didn't want to stop singing. So as you were talking, I sang, and of course you didn't hear me, and in a tone that was just right for me. And I also forgot to tell you, I actually sang a solo in a musical that my piano teacher put together. It was quite short, but you know, no one booed. Anyway, so that was beautiful. That's what I'm going to stick with, and I love it. Thank you.
And Kim, did you sing?
I did. It was really fun.
Great.
And it was great to watch people sing too. I really enjoyed that.
And Genevieve.
Well, I can't sing that low, so I was harmonizing. But this song is, I mean, I know it well, and it's come into my life many times, and it's deeply calming, which is what I needed most today. So thank you.
And Lynn.
Yes, it's a beautiful song, Becky. And I too was looking at everyone, and that was so cool. And I was also harmonizing, but not lower than you, higher than you.
That was pretty low. And Lisa Kuntz.
Whoops. Okay. Oh my. I have no idea whether I was harmonizing, whether I was high or low, because I don't know anything about my voice. So what I enjoyed, I enjoyed watching everybody's face and mouth move and knowing that, we were all singing together. And I mean, people had the look. Do you know what I mean? It's that look, the singing look. I mean, you aren't having a dialogue with someone, you aren't waiting for feedback. You're just being in, you're just for me, just being the singing. And so since I really wish I could sing, but I can't, not the way I'd like. So the chanting is a really different experience for me. And I can chant, and I like the embodied sensation. It'd be great if we could hear each other, but for me, that's really what makes it, not just the words, but kind of the resonance. I mean, whoa, you resonate. Well, It's the resonance in our body. We're resonating with our bodies. Our bodies are resonating. Yeah, I like it.
Gabriella.
Lovely. Yeah, feeling the vibration and doing this together. And maybe I need help to find other tones because it was quite low, but then it was too high. But just grateful. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you all for coming. And Jace.
I'd never heard that song before, so it's interesting because it's like it's different from reading. Like I can read music, but it's like following instruction. Like your song is instruction, you know, and like the lyrics are simple, but also the notes, and then with the repetition as it becomes more, you know, it becomes like understood. And I think, and it ultimately kind of just comes back to the singing in itself is just really like a form of breathing. And I found it very, very calming. My two dogs were here, and they were disinterested, just laying in the bed here. I thought that was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. And Lisa Judge.
Yeah, I'd like to try singing it again when I'm not so distracted. My blind cat was just bumping into walls and furniture, and I wanted to make sure she's a little unsettled for some reason. So
I hope we'll have a chance to sing together. We can try to make some way that we can do it together. That's my hope is to sing together. Yeah. And Rosemary.
I loved it. Yeah, I went up higher at first, and then I just switched to my chest voice, and they were both really fun and nice. And I really loved watching, you know, you couldn't tell if people were singing or not sometimes, but I think everybody was singing. Anyway, it was fun watching people that I could tell people were singing and pretending that, you know, it was a little choir. So yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Becky, and everybody. We offer the merit of our practice for the welfare of all beings everywhere. May all be relieved of suffering, free from fear, longing, aversion, and ignorance. And may we, together with all beings, realize the awakened way.
Next, we're going to sing the 4 practice principles. So I'll do it as I did before. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding the self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding the self-centered thoughts, only suffering. Uh-oh, I'm not going to be able to do it, and I apologize. Let us just sing it together as well as you can while we're singing. Thank you. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding the self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, compassion's way. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering, holding the self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment, passion's way. Being just this moment, compassion's way. I think we'll let that be. I just really want to thank you all so very much for being here. It's given me great joy. It gave me the opportunity to make plenty of mistakes or not quite what I'd imagined or any of those things, but also just being with you, thinking about song and our practice is just so, I don't know what the whole word might be. It's everything all rolled together, you know, joy and gratitude and yeah. So thank you very much. Does anybody else have something that you would like to say about tonight, about where you see song in your practice going forward? Anything?
I'd like to say thank you, Becky and Rosemary, for bringing us together this way. This has just been wonderful. And I really, really would love to do it so that we could all hear each other and hear all the different harmonies. So that's the magic of it too. But it's just been fabulous. So I think I will be singing some of this during service from now on.
I do, you know, I do that every time with that one, and you know, there are more to come, you know. And Genevieve has shared one that she had done for the rope, the rope one.
Rope champ.
Yeah. So, Genevieve, did you want to say something now? Oh, okay.
I just want to say thank you, Becky. It was absolutely beautiful. And I also wanted to show all you young'uns what a transistor radio looks like. Becky, Rosemary was talking, it's probably just like this one. AM only, General Electric model. I had this probably about 1960. Had to run get it when you started talking.
Thank you. Very nourishing, Becky. Thank you so much for sharing and yeah, very nourishing for me. Does anybody have like one word maybe they want to share or anything?
Yeah, just
Sorry.
thank you so
Sorry.
much, Becky. And I've been wanting to join a chorus, so maybe this is it. And we are 10 right now, so 100 we could do $10 each.
No, but I think it was everybody soon had to have it, you know, but we, you know, let's keep the options open. We'll see, you know.
And we could try it one time once people start knowing it enough. It's like to leave the sound on for everybody. And what I found when we do that is that if you don't, like if you have your sound down a bit, right? And that people come in a little stronger and back a little bit, that it does a weaving. Sometimes it just makes noise.
Thank you, Becky.
So if anybody wants, that don't have it, that want, there's another song I was gonna do tonight, but I think we're over time, aren't we?
We're just about out of time.
Yeah, I was gonna do the meta one as well. But all of these are things that are useful in our practice of the daily life. And so that's part of what I would really love to share with you all. And so if you're interested, I can send you a recording of the ones that I have. If I haven't done so already, but let me know. So if you would like recordings and don't have them, then let me know. And also, if you're keep thinking about it, if you're interested, in maybe finding a way to get together and sing together some practice time, let's see what we might be able to put together for it.